to hear so many people getting divorced.
Yeah.
You know, especially even in the church.
Yeah.
You know, it's something, people that I really thought, you know, was like, wow, they are so in love and they're good together. They are powerful together. And then
All of a
only
sudden
you hear, wow, they're divorced. They're divorced, or they're separated, or they're divorcing. And it's like, wow.
Right.
You know, I just wonder, what is it? What is that final straw that just says, you know what, divorce?
I don't know. I know a lot of people say, I love you. But I hear a lot of them say, I just don't like you no more.
That is true. That is true. We hear a lot of, you know, couples saying, I'm in love with him still, but I don't like him, you know. And if only they just understood that there are strategies and ways to get that like right back.
So
to get that like back.
Question is, how do we get that like back?
Well, for one, you start with,
you are my love in my life. You are the apple of my eye. I wanna celebrate you.
Welcome to Keeping It Real
with your favorite hosts,
Richard
and Renda.
All right.
Let's dive on in. Yes. Well, you know, today, honey, can't lie. It felt a little heavy. You know, this subject a little heavy because some very, you know, awesome couples that we've known have gotten divorced. Quite a few have gotten divorced. You know, people that we really adored, we liked, we really thought, you know, they are so in love, they are so good and even powerful together. Yeah. And, you know, only to find out, wow, they're divorced or they're separated. And to be honest, it kind of weighed heavy on me, on my heart, seriously, because for one, not just because I really like these people and, you know, as a couple, but also because I hate divorce. I hate it. I hate divorce because I know that it is a major weapon, you know.
Against family.
Right, from the enemy.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
and so.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're going to perk up because what we want to do today is we want to annihilate that, you know, as much as we can.
That's
you know, we definitely want to annihilate that. So today, what we're talking about, baby,
is how to get your like back.
How to get your like back.
I'm talking about how to get your like back into your relationship.
Yes, because a lot of, you know, us being marriage coaches, you know, we hear a lot of couples that, you know, come and say, hey, you know, we still love each other.
Exactly.
We really love each other. Love is not the issue. Like is the issue. Like, I love him, but I don't like him. Us being marriage coaches, we hear that quite often, you know, that their love for each other is not the issue, that they still love each other, you know, but they don't like each other. And so, you know, you may hear one say, you know, I love him and I love the way he do this, that, and other, but I can't stand him. You know, and then you may hear her say, you know, hear him say, you know, I love her, you know, she my dog. You know?
She my ride or die.
Right. But she just get on my nerves. I just don't like being around her. I don't like spending time with her. And so there is a way to get that like back. There is a way to get that like back. And actually, that's what we want to talk about and dive into today.
Right. Actually, we wrote a book called Don't Divorce Over Corned Beef and Cabbage.
Go from a marital mess
to a marriage that's blessed. Yes. And that's actually one of the chapters in our book.
Absolutely. One of the chapters in our book is how to get your like back. Yes, how to get your like back. Because it's possible. It is absolutely possible to get that like back. But what we really want to start with first, we want to do what? What we do here? We keep it real. We keep it real.
Gotta keep it real.
You know what? It's possible for that like to fade. You know, let's just be real. It is. It's possible for that like to fade. Sometimes you don't like that person, but when it gets to a point, and let's be real about it. You know, there will be times when you don't like that person. Moments.
Right.
But when you get more moments that you don't like them, that begin to build, and those moments become greater than the moments that you're liking and enjoying spending time with that person and being with that person, you got a problem.
Have you ever not liked me?
Yes.
For real?
I mean, it's been a not an unliking moment, but not a unliking overall, you know,
longevity.
Right. It's not, you know, that's not the atmosphere. It's not a unlike atmosphere. Right. It's a like atmosphere, but I have unlike moments. And I think we need to be real about that.
I've never had an unlike moment with you. Ever.
Really? Because you just told me before, like a few weeks ago, sometimes I don't like you.
Well, all right, I changed my mind.
Okay.
I changed my mind. Let's keep it real.
We're going to keep it all the way real. Sometimes I don't like you. And you know what? But that was okay. Like you said, sometimes I don't like you. You have unlike moments. But you are not going to allow those moments to take over and become the overall atmosphere of our marriage.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the thing.
You have to define like, because people need to know exactly what like means.
Yes.
And like is to feel affection toward, take pleasure in, and enjoy being with someone.
Right.
When you're not taking pleasure in them, you don't want to be around them, then you're having a like problem.
Right. You don't enjoy it. You know, some people get that mixed up with love. And see, love, you can love someone and not like them. Exactly. You can love someone and not like being around them, not like enjoying spending time with them. I'm going to be honest. I got some family members that I don't like. I don't like spending time with them. I don't like being around them. Right. You may have co-workers. You don't like spending time with them. You don't like being around them. But that doesn't mean that you can't love someone in the midst of that.
Exactly.
You know what? Somebody might be saying, well, show me that in the Bible. And I can't. And I can do just that. I can show you that in the Bible. But as I get to that, you go right ahead, baby.
Yeah, I just noticed that, you know, over 25 years, I had to really learn how to focus on how to make sure that I liked you. Because I convinced myself early on of how much I didn't like you. Or how much I didn't like a situation or circumstance or something that was going on. I constantly rehearsed that in my mind, and I replaced my like with dislike. So it was a choice that I had to make to bring myself back to saying, wait a minute, I really love her, but I really like her. There's a lot of things about you I love, and there's a lot of things I like about you. So I had to change how I was thinking and what I was saying concerning those things.
Right.
Because you can convince yourself that you really don't like a person when you really do like them.
That's true. I mean, honestly, you can. I mean, or I'll put it like, I believe it's times when you don't like certain things about a person, and then you make that the overall theme of the person. I don't like this thing about you, and so I don't like you. Right. Exactly. You know, and it's like, no, it's certain things I might not like about you, but I love spending time with you. Exactly. I love being with you. You know, when you aggravate me at times,
I love it.
I don't like it. You don't, I don't like it. But I wouldn't feel like, oh, well, that's the overall thing, because sometimes he aggravates me. Well, he aggravates me sometimes. Right.
So how do you think people get from loving each other and liking each other to loving each other but not liking each other? What could change? What could be some contributing factors to that?
A breakdown in communication.
That's good.
As a breakdown in communication, or a complete lack of communication. Okay. Sometimes I think, you know, when you get married, you know, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Oh my gosh, I love you. Okay. Then it's like, not only do I love you, I like you. I like spending time with you. I'm enjoying you. However, life happens. You know, you're working, you're going to school, you may be, you know, working toward a degree, you may be, you know, building a family, and all those things can contribute to distractions. You know what I mean? Can contribute to you getting distracted from one another, the relationship itself, and not cultivating that relationship and communicating in that relationship. And there are ways in which you're communicating in your relationship. You're communicating through, you know, love languages, you know, affirmations, you know, encouraging one another, tactile, you know, touching one another, intimacy, you know. It could be a breakdown if you have a baby and, you know, you may not be as intimate as you used to be, or, you know, something like that. I mean, different things can contribute to distractions being injected into the relationship and it helps to break down the communication.
Right.
So I think that's.
I think you should be really conscious about not magnifying things that you don't like and not putting too much focus on them. Because when you make them bigger,
That was me.
yeah, when you make them bigger than what they really are, they can affect you in so many ways. Because if I'm sitting here convincing myself I don't like you, now I don't want to communicate with you, just as you just said.
Absolutely.
Break down the communication. But I have convinced myself that this one issue that I don't like or I'm having trouble with adjusting with can be that major to where I don't like you no more.
And that was me. I was petty. I mean, I put it like this. I allowed petty things to overall, to become an overall climate of, I don't like him. I mean, seriously, like now, but what I also did was I had to learn how to effectively communicate with him, some of the things that I didn't like and how that was making me feel and what it was resulting in. He had to humble himself and say, okay, you know what, let me listen to what you're saying, because this is seriously affecting us at this point. You know, like he would just play too much sometimes, like for real, like play too much sometimes. Now, anyone who knows me know that I'm a person, I like to laugh and joke and everything, but he would just play too much to me at the wrong times, in my opinion.
How you gonna say the wrong time? Who gets to make the time, right?
Well, that's the thing. We both get to make the time. Wait, we do. We both get to make the time, because there were times I could have been more lighthearted, and I made the choice not to be, and I didn't have to do that.
Right.
You know, but then there were times when you made the choice to be, you know, to just be overly playful and aggravated. And it just wasn't a good time to do that. Maybe it was a contentious time. And I'm like, you know, or maybe it was during a time I'm really trying to communicate with you about something. And then you're just overly, you know, playful and not taking me seriously. So now I'm seeing it as condescending. I'm perceiving you as being, oh, he's being condescending towards me. You know, he's not taking me seriously. He doesn't care. And so that can snowball. So when you say who determines the time, we both determine the time.
Okay.
And we both determine that time by the choices we make.
Okay. See how I just do that? Okay, baby. Whatever you say. If that's the way. If it make you feel good, that's fine.
But you don't agree with that?
I
We
do.
both consider
I
times?
know I do. You know, and I like to be playful. You know, I don't take too many things too serious. I like to play and I like to laugh. And sometimes I'll be laughing at the wrong time. Sometimes it's a serious situation and it needs my attention. And I'll be sitting there saying to myself, well, not today. But, you know, I do agree with you that it's important for us both to recognize what is important and when is the right time to play.
Right.
When is the right time to be serious? When is the right time to address a problem together so that we can get to a conclusion? So it has to be a balance.
And when we talk about likes, we're not just talking about, I don't like the way you know, chew your food and it make noise and stuff like that. No, let's get into some like real deep things. Like, you know, I don't like the way you lackadaisy when it come to paying the bills. Well, if you're leaving it to one person to pay the bills and you know that they're lackadaisy, then that's not probably a good decision. You need to come together and say, you know what? This person is more, you know, timely, or this person is more financially focused on certain things. We may have some goals to meet or whatever. Let's build some goals together. Honey, these are the goals we have. For this to happen, we need to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So how about we come together? Right now, I'm better at, you know, I'm more financially focused. Well, you won't even just say better. How about that? We just say, honey, I'm a little bit more financially focused at this time with what we need to go to meet the goal. So how about I pay the bills because I have the times and the dates and the this, that, you know, and how about I do that while you do this? You know, okay, well, Renda, you may not be as focused on something else. And how about that's more my strong suit. So how about or, you know, I'm a little stronger in that, or I'm more focused in that area. How about I do that? How about, you know, replacing some words, interchanging some words. Instead of saying better, say more focused. Instead of saying worse, say less focused. You get what I'm saying? Those are some strategies you can use that because let's just keep it real. when you communicate better, you work better together. When you communicate better, you progress faster.
Right.
You know, it's about communication. If you can't communicate, think about it as a team. You know, you got a team that's focused on, okay, we're going to win the Super Bowl. This Super Bowl weekend, we're going to win the Super Bowl. So they have to come together and be able to effectively communicate as a team and for them to accomplish that goal.
Right. Depending on how you speak to somebody can either cause them to like you or dislike you. And the way that you say things to people can either be received good or bad. So it's always better to have the right choice of words. Instead of saying, I don't like this about you, how about say, baby, maybe we can change it and do it this way. Or instead of saying, I hate you, say, baby, I love you. Just change the narrative, change the atmosphere.
Right.
To create where those people can be in a like situation.
Right. Instead of saying, I can't stand you, just say, babe, you know, I love you. But when this happens, this is how that makes me feel.
And that's the way you say it too. That sounds like you.
This is how that makes. Well, I didn't always say it like that.
Yeah.
It was times I was like, you get on my nerves. You so goofy. You so ignorant.
You immature.
You
act like you're 12. Like,
but I learned there were times when, you know, Lord had to help me see too, honey, there are times when he's, you know, being a little bit more funnier or sillier because you need to as well. You need to let some things go. You're focusing on, or you're harping on, or you've crossed over into worry.
Yeah.
You're worrying about some things that you don't have a dog in that fight, baby. There ain't nothing you can do about it.
Or you just stiff.
Right. It's nothing you can do about it. Now it's just, you know, how the word of God says, stand and see the salvation of the Lord.
Yes.
Right now you've done what you needed to do. Now it's my part. Let me do my part. And so how about instead of sitting there in anguish, like, man, I don't know. Be quiet. I want you, because that's me a lot. Be quiet, because I have things. And it's like, what you thinking about? This is God's time. This is God's part. This is not your part, sweetie. It's not your part. So let God do his work and have joy.
Yeah.
You know, the joy of the Lord is our strength. And so we need to have joy to strengthen us within ourselves and to strengthen one another at times when, you know, things may be a lot going on, or, you know, you may be going through a season where the enemy is trying you a little bit more or a lot more than normal or than average. But, you know that during those times there is an expected end.
Right. And then know that you have to be conscious not to get too comfortable.
Yes.
Did I say that right too?
You better
Comfortable.
come on. Mwah.
But don't get too comfortable. Because sometimes after we've been together for so long, we get comfortable with one another. And we don't do the things we did in the beginning.
There you go.
Each other.
There you go.
To keep each other in a like state. To, you know, bring her flowers or take her out to dinner or just sit there and watch a movie. And
there
like
you go.
The other day, you know, for 2 days straight, we just sat there in the bed like this. And she just, I love this. I just love.
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm cool. You can kind of move over. However, I also had to remember this is something that you like.
Right.
And you enjoy.
It's part of my love language.
Exactly.
It's touch. It's
Right.
my love language. And so with him, and he is actually I know in the beginning.
Affectionate.
He is an affectionate person. He is. But over time, sometimes you get used to it and it's kind of like, okay, but I love the way he sat there. I'm not kidding. We laid there and it was intimate. And it wasn't intimate at that point. We were just, you know, and we weren't even intimate like that night. We really did. We laid, we hugged up, we sat there, you know, we talked, we laughed, we watched a few little things. But what I love about that is that, you know, because it's times I'm like, that's what I like. And it was a time when he was like, well, honey, when men do that, that means intimate. And I said, well, baby, no, it doesn't always have to. That's a choice. You know, now I'm not going to be teasing you like that all the time, you know, okay, you know, yeah, but then pull back. I'm not going to do that. But there are times when I just want you know, want it to be an intimate setting and intimately just having a good time, laughing, talking, you know, watching something, reading together, you know, so.
And you just have to know what your partner likes. You have to do things that they enjoy and you know that they like. Vice versa. Both of y'all doing it to each other, toward each other. And it's important to be, I always say, strategic in being the best you can be in a relationship, but benefiting the other person.
And let me tell you, this is a good example, okay? Because what we do here, what do we do here?
Keep it real.
We keep it real.
Amen.
Just like him. Like, he just didn't care with his words. I mean, he just like, he say a word wrong and like, whatever, I don't care. You know, pronounce somebody's name wrong, pronounce stuff wrong, I don't care. And I'm like, no, babe, it's important. You know, it is important. At times, you need to correct that. You know what I mean? I know somebody who used to say their spouse's name, pronounce their spouse, and I know somebody even to this day that pronounces their spouse's name incorrectly and has done it for years. And that spouse let me know that they didn't like that. They didn't like that the other spouse pronounced their name incorrectly. But they felt like, well, forget it. They've been doing it all this time. I'll just let them do it. But they don't like it because they feel that spouse doesn't see them as important or significant enough to get their name right, but they get everybody else's name right at work and everywhere else, but they just don't, you know. So certain things you definitely need to discuss and make that person aware of. Now with him, he just wouldn't pronounce things right. And I'm like, babe, you cannot go around doing that. It's just not good. True enough, I am a writer. I am an editor. And
She's a grammar teacher.
Somewhat. But that's something that's very important to me because I believe to effectively communicate, you need to pronunciate correctly. You know? Now, not always. Not to say that we at home and he just not gonna say certain things like business.
Well, I want to introduce you to my vocabulary coach. You know, there's certain things I say that she always correct me at, but I don't see nothing wrong with them.
Right. Now, at home, sometimes, yeah, fine, just do you. You know, I mean, it's fine. But there is a time, too, if you continue to do it even leisurely, it's going to spill right on over into professionally. And professionally, especially being a business owner, do all those types of things, it does matter. You know, it matters. And, you know, how you pronunciate at times, it definitely matters. Okay, now let me ask you, let's keep it real. Has it helped you at all? I know I can be annoying at times. I know it. I understand that. But has that helped in any way?
It has. Because you have to understand, you know, you're going to corporate or professional atmospheres, and you want to be able to speak a dialogue where people can understand you.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. And then too, you don't want to appear that you're being condescending toward other people, like, you know, minimizing their, you know, their importance as far as their name. You know, well, I know your name is Demetrius, but I'm just going to call you Demi. You know, I'm going to call you Denny.
Right.
When it's like, that's not my name. Well, I can't remember that, so I'm just going to call you what I want to call you. And it's like, come on, man, don't do that.
So I have a question. What are two things that, when you first met me, that attracted you to me?
Oh, after I got past how sexy you look? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, after I got past the sexiness, your transparency. Honestly, your transparency with a lot of things, and like your background to you know, to a degree. And to be honest, your intentionality in keeping it real and being genuine and organic in who you are, and not trying to be cookie cutter like everybody else. So
I thought it was that used outfit I had on.
That too.
Well, you know, for you, it was outside of seeing an attractive, beautiful young lady, I saw a confident young lady who was overcoming struggle.
That's good.
But the most important thing that I saw was your relationship with God.
That's good.
That really drew me. And that has kept drawing me even to today. You know.
That's good because you know what? What's so awesome about that is, first of all, that's what I wanted, you know, to be used to God, but also too, you you accepting that and you adhering to your own relationship, calling to, God calling you, and being able to get built up, to where I can actually lean on you at times when I'm feeling, somewhat depleted. It's been times where your faith has you stepped in and like, hey, and that's one of the most attractive things about you is that your motivation and your not just inability, but your decision to never give up. Like quitting is never an option.
Right.
And I love that.
I've been homeless and I've never ever felt as if I wanted to quit. And I've always got two positions. I'm either getting up or I'm up. I don't never run around, I'm just down, I'm down.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. I'm either getting up or I'm up.
That right there is one of the best things about us together because I'm the same way.
Exactly.
I'm not that. Not that I don't ever get down. I remember someone asked me, don't you ever get down? Don't you ever feel bad? Don't you ever? Yeah, it's times, it's moments, but it's not a lifestyle. And so, yeah, I may have those moments, but I'm the same way. I'm either, up or getting up. But I can't, even if I feel down for a while, it's like, what, I can't stay like this. We got to. Yeah, we got to keep that moving. And so I think it's important to remember those things. Go back to the basics and figure it, what is that thing that most attracted me to you? What is that thing that was most important that we had in common, in unison, that we could be powerful together in?
Exactly.
That is important. Now, again, our book, Don't Divorce Over Corned Beef and Cabbage, Go from a Marital Mess to a
Marriage That's Blessed.
Yes. One of the chapters is Getting Your Life Back. And what I love about that is we have some strategies in, things for you to consider and to get you started, a launching pad for getting your life back. Okay. These are some things to consider. And then there are some specific strategies that you can use as well, but you'll have to get the book to indulge in that part. However, we're going to just, get you started here. So first thing to consider is what, baby?
What were two things you were most attracted to when you first started dating? And then it says, choose from a few of the following.
Right. Was it physical appearance? Was it intellect? Was it spiritual faith? Was it personality, credit score, occupation, goals, age, financial portfolio, or determination? Are those just to name a few? Out of all those things, what are the two things out of all those choices that you would say most attracted you to your spouse?
To your spouse. And it's important to find out and locate those things later on in your relationship, because liking them back then and liking them now will stimulate your relationship even further. Keeping your eyes stayed on the prize. And the prize to me is what are those things that I loved about you in the beginning that I still love about you now, added with some other qualities.
Exactly. Now, next, what were the two things you were least attracted to when you two first started dating out of that list as well?
Oh, I know mine too.
Because you may say, okay, I was attracted to your physical appearance. But your job, I didn't really care that you had the job that you have. I didn't really like that job. I didn't think it, it paid enough, or I thought it paid a lot, but it didn't afford us a lot of time together, So, there's reasons why two reasons why you really liked them out of that list, and two reasons that least attracted you out of that list. Okay. And we're not going to go over all of them, just a few. And the next thing is,
in the beginning, what was it that really connected you two?
Right.
What was it about you two that came together and you decided that you wanted to become one? Or even that suggestion that maybe you could become one.
Exactly.
Something to seriously think about. What was it that really connected you two together?
That you would even consider taking it to the next level of a date or to the next date or even to get to marriage.
Exactly.
Honey, what was it for you?
It was so many things, but you was beautiful. You still beautiful today.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. And you were sexy. You're still sexy. pussy today.
See how them words of affirmation, make you feel good.
Yeah.
But it was first your physical. You was very attractive, but you were really easy to talk to. And me coming from a situation, for people that don't know my background, when I first met you, I had just come home from prison. And I had never exposed that to anybody in a 5-minute conversation. I came straight out and said, hey, my name's Richard, yours Renda, just got out of prison.
Maybe not exactly like that, but pretty much.
Pretty much.
And guess what? That's what attracted me to you. You were so transparent,
Exactly.
and you just kept it real from the jump. You get so used to men trying to impress you that they're not telling you some of the key things I want to know in the beginning. Like, that's something I would have wanted to know.
Yeah.
And so that was very, very important to me.
Yeah.
And
that was one. And then
right.
the other one was, I just, from the sense, I say this so often, even though you had come out of a hard situation, a relationship, your relationship with God was so stern, and it was so focused. I was like intrigued, like, how is it that I can hear all of this hurt and pain, but she can be so steadfast in her relationship with God?
Amen.
And I wanted some of that. I'm telling you, coming in the door, I was like, you know what? I got to figure this out, man, because I want some of that peace that girl got.
That is God is so amazing and so good, because you spend a lot of time sometimes in relationships, or you waste a lot of time in situationships trying to achieve that in your own strength and in your own strategies, instead of organically allowing that to happen with whom God would want in your life, as opposed to who you deciding to pick for yourself. That's just not a good match. You know what I mean? That's really good. But I wanted to touch on something you said. I was easy to talk to. Well, that's something you consider once you get into the relationship, everything is going well, but then you have those unlike moments, and you get on my nerves, you talk too much. But then it was like, wait, you started out with me being easy to talk to, and you love the way I talked with you and all of that. Now you talk too much. I can't stand the way you talk to me. And you know what I mean? So it's like, why? Why has that changed? Get back to that basic.
Because what you were talking about later on challenged me.
Oh, come on.
So now it was first it was just a free for all conversation. Let's get to know each other. Let's, expose what's going on in our lives, and let's be real. But when we got later into the relationship, now you were challenging me to change.
Oh.
Now all of a sudden, now I got a problem with you talking, because you're talking too much.
Right.
As opposed to really realizing she's trying to help you change and mature.
Exactly.
And make better decisions, so that you don't keep getting these same results from making bad decisions.
That's good.
So I had to look at it and realize, not that you were talking too much, not that I didn't want to hear what you were saying, but you were challenging me to change.
Ooh, for the better.
For the better.
And that can be difficult. And sometimes that's why you start going, I don't like
her.
You change. That's another one. People will say, I don't like him. I love him, but I don't like him no more because he changed.
Right.
Okay, we're all supposed to.
Right, and just imagine, when we got married, I was 31, you was 29. Well, when we was 41 and 43, we wasn't thinking the same as when we were 29 and 31.
Exactly.
Now we're 51, 55, and getting up there. Yeah. We're not thinking the same way we were thinking when we were 29 and 31.
Right. I'm not 51, but that's okay.
I'm just throwing some numbers out there.
I'm actually older, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll give you a couple
but
years,
I would say this, that's very true. We are going to change. And I think that's the one thing that couples need to understand. You will change. He will change. We will change. But you have to be able to understand and stay in unison during the change, and have God lead you during the change, because we should be changing for the better. You know what I mean? We should be changing for the better. You're going to change. And then sometimes physically, we're going to change in a way that doesn't seem good.
That is a good question. I'm glad you said that, because physically, as we get older, our bodies change.
Absolutely.
So some of that light that you saw through that window might not be the same like you see through that mirror today.
That's right.
But how do you deal with getting older physically and your body structure changing and still keeping that like?
You know what? It's very important to do this. Look at yourself. Start with yourself. Because if I'm steady looking at him and saying, man, he changed. Man, that used to be all that hair used to be dark black. I love that jet black look. When I had that goatee, that jet black goatee and them dark lashes and all of that stuff and da-da-da. But it's turning gray.
Right.
But you know what? It doesn't matter what color it is. Under that, internally, he's the same person that I fell in love with. He's the same person that gets up and cooks for me. He's the same person that gets up and makes sure that I'm okay. He's the same person who gets up and thinks about me before he thinks about himself.
That is so true.
And so do I say, well, you know what? Dang. Guess what? Things change. Your teeth change. We just, what we do here, we keeping it real. His teeth changed. My teeth changed. I went and got my teeth changed back.
And she trying to get me to get my teeth changed.
He's going to get it changed. And I'm going to tell you why, though. And somebody might say, oh, you trying to change him for to look like it? No. It's not just a cosmetic reason. There are other reasons why I say that. It's health reasons. It's not just cosmetically. You know what I mean? And so that is the reason. So I don't want anybody to, don't come in the comments like, oh, she trying to change you and make you, no. So don't come in the comments trying to tussle with me, okay? Because it's health-wise, not just cosmetically. Cosmetically, yes, it could look great. Mine was not just cosmetic, but of course, cosmetic, it looks great, feels great. But there are other things you need to do. And so I would not unlike him for that. I will not feel like, I wouldn't care what anybody says. There's someone I know who's, she says her spouse, oh no, he's very, very focused on outward appearance. That is very important to him, period. Very important to him. He got to get his teeth done. If he never got his teeth done, they ain't gonna make me unlike him, leave him or nothing. I'm gonna love him and everything else no differently, as far as cosmetic wise. Now, medically wise, that's one thing, but cosmetic wise, I wouldn't pressure him to get something done cosmetic wise just because. However, this person said their spouse is very, very outward focused, physically focused. There are certain things that has to be done for him to like her.
Conditional like, huh?
Yeah, it was conditional like. There you go. We talk about conditional love, but there's conditional like. Some people be like, I can love you, but I ain't gonna like you if you don't get a BBL. I can love you, but I ain't gonna like you, if your hair don't look the same. So let's go back to some of the things you said. Your hair may thin out. He had hair when we, on his head when we got together. Now he bald, but guess what? Don't care, love him, sexy, no different to me. My hair thinning, let's just keep it real, okay? Yeah. Is this my real hair? It's real hair connected to the hair that I bought.
It's your real hair you bought.
There you go.
Right.
But he's not going to, look at me.
I'm not going to judge her and say, what, underneath those braids, your hair is thinning.
But you know what? I have heard even people in our age group, and I'll say high 40s and up, where even into the 50s and 60s say, I want somebody with, I want a woman with, it has to be her real hair, just her hair, no weave, no this, no wig, no that. Well, what if that spouse experienced a serious illness? What if they experienced something that could even end their life, like cancer or, diabetes or something like that? So if their hair fell out, or alopecia, something that they can't help. So if their hair is gone, you don't love them anymore. Right. You got to have that. I can understand certain things, that you may like, but if that changes, is that a deal breaker? Is that going to cause you to cheat on that person? Is that going to cause you to leave that person? And
sometimes you can help a person to like them better. Want me to give you an example?
Absolutely.
Say, for instance, I like to work out and you don't. And I can see you getting a little bit pudgy and chubby. And I said, well, baby, come on, let's go work out together. And I encourage you, come on, baby, at 6 o'clock every day, let's go walk. And different things that can help you get motivated so that you can lose the weight that you want to lose. And I can help you. But I would never judge you and say, you know what, I don't like you because you're not this or you're not that. If anything, I would say, well, baby, is there anything I can do to help you to reach your goal? Is there anything I can do to help you, get to the point where you're making strides to better yourself?
And he's telling the truth, seriously, because it was times where, back in the day, babe, you getting a little thick there. Yeah, he would say it in a respectful way, so, and it wasn't a thing where I would just get upset, like,
but we went to the park. Remember we used to go to the park all the time and walk?
And he started walking with me, and I'm like, you know what? And he asked me, honey, is this something I can do, and I'm like, honey, I like walking, but I don't like walking by myself.
Exactly.
I don't want to do it by myself. And he's like, well, come on, I'm going to walk with you. And so, when weather permitted, we would walk through the park, and it was a nice, really, really nice trail, and we enjoyed it. And that was something we did together, and it actually helped us to where we could be closer and we can talk and communicate and all of that. Sometimes we just walked and actually maybe, listen to worship or music or whatever. But the fact that he was willing and intentional in helping me to reach my goal, he was willing to pause and reassess our marital position and say, hey, is this going to be an issue? So what can I do to detour this? What can I do to head off, to head this off? And I love that. And I'm the same way, honey. Can I help you with something in a way as well? And so I think that's very, very important. And let's get to this last one that we're going to deal with in the book. This last one, it is, okay, we want you to locate that one thing that made you realize that although you had over 7 billion people on the planet to choose from, how many? 7 billion to choose from, you specifically chose your spouse as the one person you did not want to spend the rest of your life without. Why? Get back to that basic. Yeah. Why? Why wouldn't you want to, why did you pick your spouse out of 7 billion people on the earth? What made you pick that one person?
You said it at the very end. It was the one person that I didn't want to spend my life without. See, I had been with a whole lot of women, and I could live with them, but you was the only one that I didn't want to live without. You were the woman that challenged me. You were the woman that brought something, a gift that they didn't bring or offer. You was the one that had a relationship with God, and I was dealing with women that was worldly minded. I had never had a woman that challenged me spiritually the way you did.
Not even invited you to church. I'm still fascinated by that.
Our very first date we ever went on, I was thinking to take you to dinner. But you said, no, I'm going to take you somewhere and feed you. You took me to church. And that was, to me, was exciting because I had never had anybody invite me to come to church. Invite me into the presence of God's spirit or his presence. And that to me was a deal breaker because it said to me, there's much more about her that I don't know. And I was used to this normal, traditional, let's go to the park, let's go out to dinner, let's go to the movies. But you said, no, I need to feed your soul. Yeah. I need to feed your spirit.
That's good.
And that's what drew me to you.
That's good.
So out of 7 billion women that's on the earth, or 3.5.575, you was that one that's challenged me spiritually and brought me to Christ, brought me to have a better relationship. But not only that, I love you because of, you just fine.
You know what? You so sweet, baby. But I would also say, for me, you were fearless, and you always made me feel safe.
That's good.
You made me feel safe. You made the girls feel safe. You were always but fearless. I love that about you. You would be like, hey, you were a protector, you know. And one things that I loved even more is that you were not just one that would, you know, protect me, you know, physically and even spiritually, you know, when it came to the enemy and praying with me and, you know, all of that. You were willing to protect me from my own self. You were willing to say, baby, you're looking at yourself in this way and that's not healthy. You're looking at yourself in this way and that's not how God see you. You're looking at yourself in this way and that is not how I see you. You know, babe, you got to change your perspective. You got to change your perception about this because that's not good. And even at times when I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, you've always protected me in every way. And I love that about you. And I still do, you know, and you've always been that. You've been consistent in that. That's another thing I love, your consistency, you know. And so get back to that. Get back to seeing how out of 7 billion people on the earth, you chose that one. Why? You know? Yeah, and let's just say you chose them for the wrong reason. Let's just say you did. There is a way. If you feel like, but I do love them, there's a way to even develop like.
Exactly. It's very important to remember and rehearse why it is that you felt how you felt in the beginning. Because it reminds you of what it is that you loved about that person and now what you like about that person. And it constantly reassures you that you really do care about this person because you like these things about them.
That's true.
And that's why you hear a lot of people say, well, I love them, but I don't like them. Well, they still love them, but they never focus on what they like.
Exactly. And I would say this too. And I know earlier I talked about how, you know, some of you may say, where's that in the Bible? When in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, when you look at the story of Jacob, and when Jacob was married to Leah and Rachel, were married to sisters. He was tricked into marrying Leah when he really intentionally wanted to marry wanted to marry Rachel. And the thing was, and it was part of the tradition back then that the women, of course, were veiled when they married, but they were not unveiled when they went into the marital bedroom and consummated the marriage. And so he did not see that it was Leah. He thought it was Rachel, and he consummated that marriage, and then it was Leah, and he resented that. And he developed, it appeared, you watch it, he had a love for her, but he didn't like her. He loved both Leah and Rachel, but he liked and adored Rachel. And in that being said, there was partiality in that. He was partial to Rachel because he loved her and liked her. And so that's why it's so important. Love is not enough to just carry a marriage in a healthy way. Love can be enough to carry a marriage. People stay married all the time for many years, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, because they love each other. But that doesn't mean that they actually like each other. And that can really cause a joyless marriage. You know, it can cause really, you know, a lot of different things to come about in that marriage. In those people, it could cause depression. It could cause, you know, infidelity. Or it doesn't cause infidelity. It can encourage infidelity. Choices make infidelity. That's right. But it can encourage infidelity. It can encourage different things. So if you have a like problem, a like issue in your marriage, you need to assess it, communicate it, deal with it, because if you don't, it will cause issues. Exactly.
And it's always better to be conscious to not to like outside things more than you like things that are close to you or inside. And what I mean by that is be intentional about loving your spouse and, you know, making sure that you focus on them and things you like about them and not focus on what you don't like.
Right. So if you're having a communication issue, say in your marriage, and that's an issue that you don't like, don't go outside the marriage and start communicating with another person, another woman or another man, because I guarantee you, you'll start to build a like for that. And then once you build a like for that, infidelity is not far behind.
That's good.
Because you can be mentally, you can cheat mentally before you can ever cheat physically. But at least because the word of God says to even think on a woman and lust on her is sin. And so it's important to, when you start feeling these feelings, you need to communicate with that spouse you have and go through some things you need to go through. Sometimes you may need counseling. I know and I'm just going to keep it real, in the AA community, we have not traditionally been taught or raised in an environment where counseling or coaching was present or was even acceptable.
Right.
But it is acceptable. It is important, and it's absolutely needed now more, I think, than ever, especially when you look at the statistics of marriage and divorce in as well as out of, the church environment.
That's right. That's why I think we'll be great coaches for you. I think we'll be able to help you to maneuver through some challenges and storms and situations in your marriage that we've already been challenged with.
Amen.
And we can help you navigate toward loving that person, but getting your like back.
Right. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, some people will say, I've heard a person say, well, I don't want nobody who ain't never been through what I've been through. And I get that. Certain things, you wouldn't want a Lamaze coach who maybe has not ever had a baby. Let's just say, I get that. I can see that. But you may have a couple who having infidelity issues in their challenges in their marriage. Okay. And they want to talk with, say, a coach, marriage coaches about infidelity. So they may say, well, Renda, Richard, have you ever had infidelity in your marriage? No, we have not. That's something we haven't had. Drug abuse, certain things.
Disrespect.
Yeah, certain things we have had. But infidelity was not one. However, have we ever been challenged or has the enemy ever tried to encourage or inject the thought of infidelity in our marriage? Yes. And that's where, that to me is even more important, because now I need to know how to curb that, how to detour from those thoughts and not allow those thoughts to manifest and flourish in my marriage.
Exactly.
And I think, and just being honest, I think the church has not done a thorough job in relating that. It's also, you just don't think that way. And it's like, really? Because them thoughts is kind of like popping up in there, and I ain't putting them in there. They kind of popping up in there.
Right.
But how do I deal with that? Instead of acting as though I don't think of that, or I've never thought of that, or I've never had any type of challenge in that area.
Right.
Well, let's just keep it real. I think that's why we're here, because we want to keep it real.
Right.
And we're here too because, it was a time when we almost divorced.
Over corned beef
And cabbage. Seriously. Like, not kidding. We literally almost divorced over corned beef and cabbage. And as trivial and minute as that sound, it was true. Of course there were underlying things, but we thank God that we were able to allow God to steer us away out of that. And we had to be intentional in recognizing that, communicating with one another, making a decision not to go that route, and allowing God to lead us. We had to be intentional and to do the work.
Right. And then we also had to come together and say, hey, we got to build a better relationship with one another in order for us to communicate properly. For me to make sure that you have your like, I have my like, and together we like each other.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes one person can be willing and the other person not be a willing participant, and it just hinder the situation.
That's good. That's good.
It hurts the situation when you both not on one accord trying to make this thing work.
God just gave me something. He said, all of creation, everything God created, I love. Everything. But certain things I don't like. I don't like sin. So you can love. You can love for lifetime. You can love for eternity. But it doesn't mean that you're going to like for eternity. And that's the thing. God says, I love you, but I don't like sin. And it's what I don't like that separates us. And that can separate us from living together for eternity. You know, so it is very important. God is all about like just as much as he is about love. Because like can separate you from love. And so it's very important to get your like back. And I'm going to tell you something. It's important to go over these things we talked about, even in our book, Don't Divorce Over Corned Beef and Cabbage, Go from a Marital Mess
to a Marriage That's Blessed.
Yes, and look at that chapter, How to Get Your Life Back, because even God does the same thing. In the book of Revelation in the Bible, he talks about the 7 churches. And one of the churches, he tells the church, go back to your first love. You've gotten away from the things that caused you to love me. You've gotten away from the things that caused us to love and one another like that. To not just love, but to like one another. And so that's very, very important. And we want to make sure that we stay focused on not just I, as husband always says.
Yes.
You know, but on we, on us. And what I mean we is us, we one. Us, we, and us. Us and God in alignment. In alignment. And alignment with love as well as like. And for those of you who are, say, empty nesters, you know, you may feel like, man, if ever a time, there's a time where you can really see that like was diminished along the way or has depleted, that's a time when you become empty nesters, when all of your children are gone and it's just you and the husband or you and the wife and you all are looking at each other like, what are we supposed to do? Because you made your life about building your family and about investing your time and love and attention into the children, and you lacked for your own personal relationship. And now you got a like issue. You know, or a lack of like issue.
But you know the good thing about it, it's not too late.
Not too late.
Not too late. All you got to do is refocus, recenter, you know, communicate with one another. And in order for you to have that eternity with that person that you love, you're supposed to love them and like them. So that's our job, to help you learn how to like again as well as love.
That's good, baby. That's good. All right. Well, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and push that notification bell so that you can be notified of every time we upload a new video. And also to put your comments below. Put your comments, questions, comments below. We look forward to you joining us next time, okay? But in the meantime and in between time, continue to keep it real. All right.